think we probably need to call out the elephant in the room. The UK is in election season. Sigh. Yes, Rishi Sunak announced recently that the UK will have a general election on the 4th of July. And after 5 prime ministers in as many years, I think I can speak for the country when I say we're all really freaking excited about it.
Well, most of us. I'm not.
I think I was being sarcastic there, really.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. But of course, there's lots of countries in the world this year that may see a change in government. France has just called a general election. India has just concluded a very dramatic election with Prime Minister Modi in the process of establishing his first coalition government. And of course, we have the US general election in the autumn to look forward to. Trump or Biden will be president. I'm not sure anyone was in the mood for that 2020 throwback, but here we are. But I'm not here to talk politics. I want to talk about something called election anxiety. So I was chatting to our friends at Headspace about some potential collabs coming up, spoiler, and we got onto the topic of the election and election anxiety. And I was saying that I didn't really remember coming across this term specifically in the past, and I want to know a bit more about it. So I did some digging, and it's been coined election stress disorder by an American psychologist called Steven Stosny. He came up with the term after he observed heightened stress and conflict amongst the couples he was counseling during the US presidential elections. And I think anecdotally, a lot of us will relate or admit to doom scrolling through the constant news updates, the debates, the political scandals, and all this pushes our anxiety through the roof. But what does the data say? Well, the American Psychological Association found that 52% of Americans found the elections a significant stressor, and the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy found around 33% reported a negative effect on their well-being from the uncertainty surrounding Brexit. Headspace themselves have reported finding a 50% increase in the use of their app during election season. But what was really interesting is the psychologist behind this, Steven Stosny, also observed that the stress persisted once the election was over, so it continued. He called this post-election stress disorder or headline stress disorder. And again, noting kind of this constant flow of news and social media kept people in this state of tension. So it seems as though election anxiety, election stress disorder may well be a new thing. And you might be thinking, well, as a business leader, as a HR professional, why should we really care? Well, regular listeners will know that stress isn't just bad for our people, it's bad for our business. So during election periods, employees might experience increases in stress and anxiety that can lead to decreased concentration, high absenteeism, even strained relationships between colleagues. And that is going to mean for your business, lower productivity, lower performance, dips in revenue, profitability, and maybe even unhappier customers. So what can you do about it? Well, there was a really good article from Headspace, and I will leave a link in the show notes. It suggested a few things, including encouraging employees to limit their media consumption, engage in rest and recovery activities. Those two things are different. And of course, vote by participating in the election process. The APA believes, that's the American Psychological Association, they believe it can help us feel a sense of control and it can empower us, and that in turn can reduce stress. Interesting stuff. I feel a bit less anxious this time around, Al. I'm not sure about you. I think Brexit was my rock bottom.
Yeah, well, regular listeners will know we're massive Europhiles here. Brexit was a big rock bottom. But then I've coined this term, the Venn diagram of give a shittery. And in one side, it's got stuff you can control. The other side, it's got stuff you care about. Excuse me. And then in the middle is the stuff that you both can control and do care about. And I employ that when it comes to elections. So I go, well, the only thing I need to worry about is who am I voting for? I speak to my wife because she's far, far more knowledgeable than I am. She says, I'm voting for this. I'm going to go, right, I will do the same thing. That's as far as it goes for me. And I'm like, well, everything else is out of my control. So I might care about it, but it's out of my control. So I'm like, just let it go.
If you want to try and make a change, it really, and I know having that one vote doesn't feel like you can, but maybe it will. And if you're unsure, there's loads of really good, particularly UK people, US, I'm not quite sure how it works over there. But in the UK, if you're unsure about who to vote for at the minute, usually the BBC will do some kind of like questionnaire that you can go through. Not always very helpful. I think my results last time came out basically like third split for all three main parties, which then wasn't very helpful, which again is a problem with politics, but that we're not here for that, Al. I'm going to put a pin in that.
I'm going to
I'll leave
stop
the
you
links.
there. Yes. Thank you very much.